What you are about to see is the fastest transformation any civilization has ever achieved, and almost no one outside its borders watched it happen. 40 years ago, this nation could not feed its own people. Today, it builds the machines that feed the world. Welcome back to Echo Mind Documentaries. If this is your first time here, subscribe, like, share, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Let's dive back into the topic. 4 decades ago, the streets were filled with bicycles, not cars. Ration cards decided what a family could eat that month. Entire villages worked the same patch of land their grandparents had worked, using the same tools, expecting the same modest harvest, generation after generation. Then, something changed. A handful of leaders made a decision that would alter the course of human history. They opened the doors. They allowed markets where there had only been control. They allowed ambition where there had only been obedience to the plan. It began quietly, in small experimental zones along the coast. Fishing villages were given permission to try something new. Factories were allowed to keep a portion of their profits. Farmers were allowed to sell what was left over after meeting their quotas. These were small cracks in a very old wall, but cracks are how transformation begins. Within a few years, those cracks were open gates. Foreign companies arrived, drawn by cheap labor and untapped potential. Local entrepreneurs, many of them with no formal training, built workshops that became factories, and factories that became empires. Cities that had been little more than fishing harbors became forests of glass and steel within a single generation. The numbers alone are difficult to comprehend. Hundreds of millions of people moved from subsistence farming into modern industry. Life expectancy rose by decades. Literacy spread to nearly the entire population. A nation that once struggled to produce enough bicycles became the workshop of the planet, manufacturing everything from children's toys to the components inside smartphones carried by billions of people. But growth at this speed always comes with a cost. Rivers absorbed the waste of 1,000 new factories. The air over major cities grew thick enough to blot out the sun. Villages emptied as the young left for the cities, leaving behind aging parents and half-built homes. Inequality, once almost non-existent under strict central planning, widened into a canyon between coastal wealth and inland hardship. And yet, the transformation did not stop at factories and skylines. The same ambition that built assembly lines began building laboratories. Engineers who once copied foreign blueprints began designing their own. A country once dependent on importing basic technology started exporting satellites, high-speed rail systems, and renewable energy infrastructure to nations around the world. Today, the cities that began as quiet experiments stand among the most advanced urban centers on Earth. Bullet trains cross distances that once took days in a matter of hours. A space station orbits the planet, built and operated entirely by engineers from the same nation that 2 generations earlier struggled to keep its population fed. The people who lived through this transformation carry 2 worlds inside them. They remember ration cards and they carry smartphones. They remember walking to school past rice paddies and now send their own children to universities that rank among the best in the world. No other generation in human history has crossed such a distance from scarcity to abundance in the span of a single lifetime. What took most of the developed world 2 centuries to build was compressed here in 40 years. It is a story of extraordinary achievement and undeniable cost, of villages that vanished and megacities that rose in their place, of a people who were told to wait their turn and instead rewrote the timeline of the modern world. This is the story of the 40-year transformation that shocked the world, and it is still being written.